Vinay Sahasrabuddhe, member of the Prime Minister's Museum and Library Society, now joins us on this broadcast. So thank you so much for speaking with us here on CNN News 18. Let me begin by asking you, you're a part of the Nehru Memorial Museum and Library Society, now rechristened, of course. If you can shed some light on the rationale behind the renaming, was there complete consensus among the entire committee about this name change?
Well, it was a very unanimous decision. There was complete consensus amongst the members of the executive committee of the what was known as Nehru Memorial Museum and Library, which has now been renamed as Prime Minister's Museum, Pradhan Mantri Sangrahalaya, which is a part of it, and it has been named as Pradhan Mantri Museum and Memorial Library. The rationale being, see, earlier we had a Nehru Memorial Museum and Library over there. Later on, in a very democratic manner, the government decided that why should we only be having some kind of a memorial for just one Prime Minister. I mean, we know that there are memorials or kind of small museums set up for Srimati Indira Gandhi and Shri Lal Bahadur Shastri as well. But we don't have any commemorative kind of a structure created for, let's say, P.V. Narasimha Rao or even Rajiv Gandhi or for that matter Chandrasekhar or Vishwanath Pratap Singh or Atal Bihari Vajpayee. And all of them were our very respected Prime Ministers. So we need not be unnecessarily discriminating between all our prime ministers. The nation will have to be unanimously grateful towards all.
Sure.
And therefore, we created a Pradhan Mantri Sangrahalaya, a Prime Minister's Museum, which is a state-of-the-art museum where you find digital technology and traditional museum or museology science combined together. So naturally, when the museum is no more Nehru Memorial Museum, it is a Pradhan Mantri Sangrahalaya, Prime Minister's Museum. So naturally, the name also requires to be changed. And therefore, as per the Society Registration Act, we decided to change it. It is perfectly legal, perfectly unanimous, and in a very democratic manner, which in a way also is the symbol of our spirit of accommodation.
So, Mr. Sahasrabuddhe, what you're essentially trying to say is that as opposed to the claim that the Congress is making that this reeks of exclusivity, you're trying to push out the first Prime Minister of the country, you are saying that this in fact is all about inclusivity.
Perfect, perfect. And where have we changed? We still have Jawaharlal Nehru University and we continue to respect such institutions. We still have Indira Gandhi International Airport. And we don't want to, we have not changed it. So I believe there is absolutely no question of changing the names in a wholesale manner. We are not on a name changing spree as such. But then an institution which has now been converted, it has graduated from one single Prime Minister's museum to the museum of all Prime Ministers. So this is our very democratic, inclusive and accommodative approach, which is now reflected in the name of the institution as well, which is pretty logical and something which everybody would understand.
But you say everybody would understand, sir, but the Congress is clearly not getting the point of it. They think that this is petty and vengeful, that the government is trying to erase the legacy of India's first Prime Minister altogether.
Well, if you are referring to the comments coming from Twitter on by our friend Jairam Ramesh, I think he is unnecessarily reading between the lines. He should read the lines. There is nothing, something conspirational about it. The character of the institution has changed. Would you say that it is illogical to reflect that change in the name of the institution itself? It is perfectly logical, and insofar as the allegation of vengefulness is concerned, I would request Mr. Jairam Ramesh and all others to visit the new Jawaharlal Nehru Gallery in the Pradhan Mantri Sangrahalaya. We have presented Jawaharlal Nehru's contribution in our country in a much more better way than what it was earlier.
Vinay Sahasrabuddhe, you say that now the Congress should go and visit and perhaps look at this gallery that is a tribute to the first Prime Minister of the country. But many also say that the Congress has never really looked at this particular museum. It may be a legacy of the Nehru Gandhi family, but the Congress really hasn't done much as far as the upkeep and maintenance is concerned.
Certainly, and therefore it was an institution nobody paid any attention to. Today, the Prime Minister, our Honorable Defence Minister, Finance Minister, everybody attends the meeting. Yesterday's meeting was chaired by Defence Minister and the Finance Minister was also present. So we attach great importance to such new institutions or reincarnated institutions, and therefore it is perfectly logical to reflect the change in the character into the change in the name.
Sure, but it's also the personal connect that this particular building has with Jawaharlal Nehru, which also seems to be the issue, that the Teen Murti house used to be Jawaharlal Nehru's official residence and hence the name stuck. That's why also the objection in renaming it.
The moment Prime Minister Nehru and his next generations donated it and it became a national property, naturally, it was very logical and in the fitness of the things that we converted it and broad-based it, and therefore it is no more a property of a family. The family donated that property to the nation, and the nation, in its collective wisdom, decided to utilize it as a museum for all the prime ministers. So I don't think one should be so very touchy and needlessly sensitive on such issues. It is no question of a personal property. It is the nation's treasure. It is the national property.
It's not a personal affront. There is needless controversy over it, says Vinay Sahasrabuddhe. So thank you so much for speaking with us here on CNN News 18. We do